here's Brody Brazil.
And I think we got to start with the 49ers, right? Headed back to the Super Bowl, and it'd be the first time in a long time if they actually won it this time. 95, like, you were very entrenched with the team back then. I actually kind of like the adversity that they faced in these two playoff games this season. Nothing was guaranteed against Green Bay, and certainly against the Lions. That was one heck of a comeback.
Yeah, my heart rate is just getting back to normal. I think I've told you, my wife's not into sports at all.
Yeah.
So she's kind of looking at me like I'm kind of some kind of experimental. She's like, "What is wrong with you?" Because I have a regiment, Brody. I pace around the kitchen island, and I time it so I'm just looking at the play, and then I can't handle it. And then during the commercial breaks, I do push-ups to let off anxiety. And she's just like, "You."
I don't do that, by the way. Yeah, that's great.
But you know what? I tell folks that, I'm happy that number one, I got to cover all the teams I loved as a little kid, and I still have that. Sometimes I wish I wasn't as fervent and passionate about it, because it would be a lot easier on my gut, but I can't help it. And I think you're right. I think that the circumstances of the first two playoff games will serve them well, because they've been through the grinder, man. They know they can come back. They also know that the importance of getting off to a much better start.
Yeah.
And I think they're going to have 2 weeks now to kind of correct some things. Obviously, they've got to shore things up with regard to the running, stopping the run, and all those things. But I think the rematch, I like it. I think they have a good shot at taking Kansas City down, which would be nice. But I think they're set up because of Brock Purdy's contract being so low. They can keep loading up. I mean, this is a team whose window is, I think, this year and at least two more.
And that's a good point. I mean, I was going to bring up the balance of attention. Everybody focuses on Brock Purdy. It's a tremendous story, the last draft pick, and to turn into a Super Bowl quarterback. But I also don't want to take away from, to your point, like the rest of this team and the way it's built.
Yeah.
And Purdy gets so much attention, and I can't even believe this criticism. And I'm not ready to put him in the Steve Young or Joe Montana category yet.
I'm creeping up there.
Are you really? Where do you put him?
Yeah. Well, somebody said he does things that are, and I like this phrase, Montana-esque.
Oh, yeah.
The way, and one of the things that I remember Bill Walsh saying was the most important thing in a quarterback was not necessarily their arm and their height and their strength and all that kind of thing. It's like an intangible that's a feel for the game, a feel of knowing without eyes in the back of your head where that rush is. And the other thing he used to say is he loved Joe Montana's feet.
Yeah.
To be nimble enough in the pocket. And I think that's a similarity that Brock has. Those two runs that he pulled off in the second half of this game were just like, you either get that or you don't. You can't teach that. And cerebrally, I think that's what's helping to separate him and make up for, whatever they keep saying, lack of arm strength and those kinds of things. It's a great story, but the rest of the team, I mean, how can you not love, Kittle and Bosa and, just everything about this team.
Yeah.
They're just like, they just feel united and no knuckleheads allowed. You're either in it to win it or you're out,
It just seems like a fun team, quite honestly. It seems like a 49ers team that you covered a lot back in the day, that there's so many likable players.